Hello and welcome to Colred Plays Raid Shadow Legends. I am Colred. Thank you for joining me. So today is Monday, and although the portal has stopped glowing, the Altar of Souls has begun. Now, there is a lot going on this week. We're going to have a new fusion drop. We've got a clan v clan. We've got all sorts of things. There's a big patch coming as well. Now, I want to give you a plan for this week so that you don't miss out on any rewards. Also, a couple of potential pitfalls you're going to need to avoid to set yourself up for success. So I hope you're ready for it because this is your no-fail weekly plan. Let's get started. Just a quick reminder, today is Monday. That means tomorrow is Takeover Tuesday. I live stream at 1 p.m. and I give away free account takeovers to members of my Discord community. You should come check it out. Also, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and consider joining our Discord community. Thanks so much for all the support, and let's get back to your no-fail weekly plan. We're going to start at a different place this week because there's a bit of information I want to put at the top of the video so that everybody sees it. We have an Altar of Souls boosted summons going on for the next 3.5 days, where you get a double chance of 5-star and 6-star perfect souls for Mortal Soulstones and Immortal Soulstones. Now, this is a great time to pull your Soulstones, but just wait a second. Don't do it just yet. We need to talk about it. Now, first of all, there is this anniversary path that is going on. You're going to get points for summoning souls from Soulstones. So this is just a bonus. Again, another good reason to pull Soulstones. I don't think this path is something that you want to spend a lot of time and energy and resources pursuing because we do have a fusion coming up. But if you already know that you're going to skip the fusion and you want to invest a little bit more in terms of upgrading your champions here, to try to get yourself maybe a legendary tome or a sacred shard or a mythic tome, then you can go ahead and make that decision for yourself. But regardless of whether or not you're going to pursue this path, you will be getting some points if you pull your Soulstones. So that is another reason to pull. So we've got kind of a triple dip going on, which is great with Soulstones. Now, in addition to that anniversary path, we do have a fusion warm-up event. This is a classic fusion warm-up event where basically you just have to go dungeon diving. That's all you have to do. Just go and run some dungeons, or even campaign would probably be enough. All you need is some artifacts and accessories. These are really easy. These are really friendly. They're going to allow you to get some energy and then get some an ancient shard. There is a tip here, which is do not collect your energy yet, right? Wait for the fusion to start. Typically, the fusion will start when there's still like 16, 18 hours left on this event. So the fusion typically launches a day before the fusion warm-up event ends. So just hold on to your energy. If you want to hold on to anything else, you could as well, but you can grab all the other stuff safely. Just leave the energy here, and then you can collect it when you need it for the fusion. By the way, you can also just never collect it. If you never collect it, it goes into your mailbox and you get a 6-day timer. So that's a way to even extend the duration of these rewards if the timing for picking them up right now isn't good. Now, we have gotten a new sneak peek about the next patch to drop. It's a big one. There's going to be a lot of changes coming, some quality of life improvements. I highly recommend you go and check out this video because it may change the way you approach certain aspects of the game over the next few days. For instance, all of the new dungeons are getting nerfed. So Iron Twins, Sand Devil's Necropolis, and Phantom Shogun's Grove are all getting nerfed. They're going to be a little bit easier. So you may want to not, for instance, go too hard in Sand Devils right now. Hold off, wait for the new patch to drop. It should be a lot easier for you. It should also be faster. Hopefully the dungeon clears will be faster, even if you are clearing the maximum stage, because they're getting stat nerfed. All the bosses are getting nerfed in their stats and also their mechanics. So just hold off there, but go and watch this sneak peek. It gives you a lot of information. Another great thing we're getting is we're getting a new reward in the game that's going to give us a gear removal cost reduction buff, I guess. So normally when we get a gear removal cost reduction, we get sort of a little icon that pops up here next to the XP banner and the Forge Pass raid boost. And so now you're going to be able to either potentially purchase those in the shop and get them as rewards in certain areas. I think Centranos is the first place. And you get a few hours, 1 hour, 3 hours, I don't know, something like that, to use gear removal freely. And that's going to really help us in Centranos. So that's also something to consider moving forward. If you need to re-gear, you might want to hold off a little bit because you might have a free gear removal gift potentially coming, or a reward that you can get pretty easily. So that's going to allow you to re-gear hopefully a lot more cheaply than right now. And silver, of course, is one of the resources you need to spend during a fusion. So just don't go crazy with the silver spending and the re-gearing for the next few days. Just hold off, because once the patch drops, it should be a lot easier. Now let's go ahead and talk about the Fusion Champion. I'm not going to do a full preview here, but I want to give a little bit of a preview for those of you who don't know about the champion yet, just so you can decide whether or not you want to go for her. Okay, here she is. She is called the Incarnate. She is a legendary defense-based champion, Force Affinity, in the High Elves faction. And she is a duo for Arbiter. Now, the skill set looks interesting, but I'm not sure how good of a duo with Arbiter she will actually be. The A1 is a double hitter that has a 50% chance of provoking for one turn, and it has a 30% chance of counterattacking when an ally Arbiter is hit, occurs once per hit. I wish this was like a 100% chance of counterattacking when an ally Arbiter is hit. I don't know why it's a 30% chance. That doesn't feel powerful. That feels pretty weak, but it is an extra thing. The A2 is on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. It's an AoE that has a 100% chance of removing all shields and one random buff from all enemies. It's not bad. That's okay. And then places a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns. The value of the shield is proportional to this champion's defense. That could be a very strong shield. Most defensive-based shields are fairly strong. Her A3 on a 3-turn cooldown places an ally protection on all allies, and then a strengthened buff on all allies, including herself. This is a very good ally protect, so she feels like a pretty strong ally protector. Now she has 2 passives, the first of which increases this champion's accuracy by 20 for each ally under ally protection buff. That could be useful, especially in places like Hydra, if you're bringing an ally protector in for Hydra. When killed, resets the cooldown of the Destiny's Call skill for any ally arbiters if there are multiple champions. Okay. So I think this is where our Arbiter gets her boost, right? So when this champion is killed, it resets the cooldown of Destiny's Call for any ally arbiters. Okay, so here is Arbiter, and if you look at her skills, you see her Destiny's Call is her revive, right? So this is typically on a 5-turn cooldown, but it could be reset instantly. So basically, Arbiter has an opportunity to get her revive back if the Incarnate dies. Now that's an interesting synergy, I guess, except this is a defensive-based champion, right? So she may be the last one dying. Like, Arbiter may die before the Incarnate. Now, the ally protection may help with that, so it'll be kind of interesting to see how that plays off. But I think there was some question about whether or not Arbiter would get changes, like whether the patch would change her skills in order to make her a more, like, classic duo with the Incarnate, and that's still a possibility. We might see that. But this is really a buff for Arbiter, not a buff for the Incarnate, right? This doesn't help the Incarnate particularly. This gives Arbiter a cooldown reduction. So I think this may be the way that they're handling this. Arbiter may not change at all. We'll have to wait and see, but it may be that this is the only real buff that Arbiter gets from this duo. Finally, we have the second passive, which increases this champion's resistance by 20 for each ally under ally protection buff. Again, that feels pretty good for Hydra, getting an additional 100%, not 100%, but 100 resistance in that scenario with 5 allies is pretty good. This champion will also receive 20% of the damage of any ally arbiters. So this is going to, in addition to the ally protection, arbiters will take additionally less damage. I don't know if this is multiplicative or additive with the ally protection. I'm going to assume it's multiplicative. So what that means is the ally protection will take away 50% of the arbiter's damage, and then this 20% is really just 20% of what's left, so that's an additional 10%. So the arbiter is going to get like a 60% ally protection. Additionally, if any ally arbiter is about to get killed by a fatal hit, places an unkillable buff on her for 1 turn. So this does actually help with that other passive, right? So if Arbiter's less likely to die if the Incarnate is alive. And then if the Incarnate does die, Arbiter gets her revive right away. So it's an okay synergy. I don't know how good this champion is going to be. She doesn't feel as powerful as some of the recent fusions that we've seen. I definitely think if you have fusion burnout, you may think about skipping this one. I'll probably go for her, 1, for content because I'm a content creator, and 2, I'm a completionist. I like every champion, but I actually don't feel like this is a necessary champion. However, if you use Arbiter in your Hydra teams, and Arbiter is not a bad champion for Hydra teams, right? Brings that buff duration decrease, that turn meter fill, increase attack, a weaken on the A1, and the AoE revive, plus a little heal on the turn meter fill, which can be useful. So if you do use Arbiter in a Hydra situation, then the Incarnate, I think, is going to pair very well with her. And the two could be good in a Hydra situation. You get this additional provoke, which is nice. And it feels like maybe if you can set up the Arbiter to be the champion who gets hit by the head of Decay or whatever it is, the one that you can provoke, then the counterattack can actually work into your advantage with the provoke on the head of Decay. So interesting, but really feels like a mid-game champion. Also a good clan boss ally protector. One of the better clan boss ally protectors in the game, really, because of that strengthen buff. Strengthen is really nice. You can bring in an increased defense champion and get a real nicey tanky traditional team if you don't have Wixwell or an unkillable composition. So if you are relatively new to the game, don't discount this champion for that ally protect and strengthen buff. That's a really nice comp. But all in all, I would say maybe a B tier champion, usable, but definitely one that you could feel comfortable skipping if you need to. Okay, now let's get to the typical weekly timers. We're heading over to the clan. Remember that clan quests do expire in just over 11 hours from the time of recording. I have completed mine this week. I remembered after last week's video to do that. But again, if you haven't yet picked up your clan quests, go ahead and see what remains. Even doing the basic ones can be valuable. The silver is good. You add experience to your clan, which is helpful. So go in here if you haven't done your clan quests and do them. Make sure you get anything that's outstanding completed in the next 11 hours. Again, the clan shop refreshes at the same time. So pick up your champion fragments if you need them. I already have both Yenica and Ykaro, so I have no champion fragments to grab. But if you need silver, or you want the skin fragments for Arbiter, or you're looking for accessories, whatever's in here, go ahead and pick up anything that's useful. Remember that next week there will probably be energy in this slot, which will be helpful with the fusion event. So don't use up all your clan gold if you don't need to, because you're going to want a good chunk for the energy in the shop next week. As always, on Monday, our classic arena and tag team arena timers have just reset. I actually remembered to change up my defenses at the right time for tag team arena, and I got promoted again this week. So I got back to silver 1. I've been demoted several times. I'm running for gold. That's what I'm going to do. That's something that I'm going to be focused on for the next month or so. We'll see if we can make it. But again, you can see I have my one-man defense in right now. That's going to allow me to drop. And so if I go ahead and refresh this list, well, I only did it a few hours ago. I'm going to drop down to where everybody's got a one-man defense that allows me to farm gold bars really freely. And then I'm going to remember to put my strong defense back in, usually between 48 hours and 72 hours before the reset. So about 4 to 5 days of one-man defense, and then at least 2 days of a full defense. But again, that timing is up to you. It kind of depends. If you're just trying to hold serve, a lot of times you can wait a little bit longer. If you want to guarantee that you're going to get promoted and you don't have a lot of activity time towards the end of the reset week, then you might want to do it earlier in the week. But I highly recommend right now putting in a one-man defense and dropping down to just get more free gold bars, basically. We've got the Hydra reset in a day and a half. Remember the 4-hour difference between Hydra Clash and Hydra reset. So Hydra Clash ends 4 hours earlier. Again, a reminder just to get in here. I haven't used any of my keys yet this week, and this is always the thing that takes the longest to do in my week. And so if I can remember to do one today and then one early tomorrow and then one just before reset, that's usually the best scenario for me. But another way to do it is just do one key early in the week to give yourself a little bit of leeway. Whenever you have time in your week, whenever you have a couple of hours to just sit down and do like a full Hydra key, I highly recommend doing that. And if you have a couple hours, do your hardest one first. That can be good rather than waiting to do your hardest one late in the cycle, because sometimes you run out of time and that means you've left your best Hydra. I'm going to say that again. You've left your best Hydra Clash damage on the bench if you don't complete that key in time. So generally I try to go my hardest one first, then my easiest one, and I do the medium one sort of last, because the easiest one I just fire off whenever I have that advanced quest to do a Hydra key. and I just let it auto battle for like 40 minutes and then it's done. And I don't really care, because if it's 5 or 10 million different, 20 million different, that's not a huge impact on my Hydra Clash score, whereas my more difficult keys are. Now, coming to Doom Tower and Curse City, you can see Curse City is winding down. We're in the last week. You still have roughly 40 keys. If you have today 48 keys, actually there's an extra set, so maybe 56 keys. You might have as many as 56 keys left to do. There's still a lot of resources to go in there and get. You can see I'm getting close to clearing all of normal. I have my keys for Amius here. I also have my keys for Amius on hard. Make sure that you do your Amius, right? We're going to have the fusion launching in 3 days. And this resets in 5.5. So once the fusion starts, you may not think about this. So I highly recommend doing your Amius over the next couple of days, just like doing your Hydra Clash over the next couple of days, right? Get those out of the way so that when things get busier, you don't have to think about it. But this will be resetting soon. So also go out and get every last resource that you can. You may want to hold onto your energy nodes for a day or two. So if there's an energy node like this that you know that you can clear, just wait on it, right? Just wait on it, because when the fusion starts, you're going to want that energy. Or if you want to set yourself up, if you're like farming potions or finishing off Minotaur or something before the fusion starts, then go ahead and use the energy nodes now. But just think about the resources that you want to get, because there are only a few days left of the Cursed City. Doom Tower still has 2 weeks and a day. You have plenty of time. You can go ahead and push an entire tower, right? You have 14 days, and it only takes 12 days to push an entire tower if you can clear it. So as you can see, I have cleared hard mode, and I am onto normal mode, and I am at floor 70. That's not right. Floor 21. Okay, floor 21. I saw the 75 here. I was like, floor 75, there aren't no bosses on floor 75. So I still have time to finish this, but I got to make sure to use all of my keys each day. Also get in here and do your secret rooms. Remember that there is one extra set of keys after the last day's reset. Like the reset of the Doom Tower doesn't happen on the server reset. So there will actually be one extra set of keys for like 4 hours after server reset on that last day. So use all the keys that you can, get all of your resources. And if you're looking for bosses to farm during this rotation, I mentioned it last week, I think Dark Fae has got the best damage set, the lethal set, I think it is, in the game for the Forge, at least farmable set. And then you've got the Griffin for the Guardian set, which is also a great defensive based set. So those are 2 really good sets to farm. Okay, and finally, we have this Forge Pass that is ongoing. It is fairly new still. We're only a few days in, but I want to remind you to do this every day. Not only are there great free resources, but this is the Instinct set. So you definitely want to complete this entire track so you get access to the legendary Forge materials, the Instinct Stones, because this is an absolutely great set. I don't have enough pieces of this, and we don't get this set all that often. I think this is maybe only the second or third time this set has been offered. So definitely make sure that you are doing all of your daily challenges and completing all those as often as possible so that you can get this really good set. Okay, that is it for this week. Let me know in the comments below if I missed anything. Again, if you have any tips, tricks, comments about stuff I missed, I will pin that so that everybody can read those comments and get all of the information, because that's what this video is all about, giving you the information you need to succeed this week in Raid. All right, that is it for me. I have been Colred. Thank you so much for hanging out. I will see you in another video soon.